Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So today we're going to be talking about the very pressing question that everybody has on their mind, and you guys have left a lot of comments with this question. There has been an overflow of matte lipstick releases, but the ones that I think people are the most intrigued about are the Merit's matte lipsticks and the Westman Atelier matte lipsticks. So if you want to know which formula works for you, then go ahead and stay tuned. So the first thing I want to talk about is finish, okay? They are both considered matte lipsticks, and the packaging is obviously very different for both of them. The Westman Atelier is magnetic, and it has a mirror on the cap. It's also refillable. So the actual bullet pops out, and it is magnetic. You have that honeycomb on the bottom, and that's what the inside looks like. You do need the case in order to be able to use the lipsticks, just so you know. So it's not like you can just buy a refill and use it on its own, unless you have like a honeycomb kind of screwdriver to get that lipstick up. So you do need to have the case. Now with the Merit lipsticks, they are not refillable. They are in the original packaging. It's just black. So this is the original tone of their lipsticks, which is like this caramel brown. And then the matte ones are in this black casing. And it is just your typical bullet, as you can see. And you have the color name on the bottom. With the Westman Atelier lipsticks, you have a sticker on the bottom that tells you what color you bought. And from what I can see, you can remove this sticker if you don't want it there, okay? So you can definitely tell why there's a bit of a price difference between each lipstick. This one is a little bit more expensive because this is a vessel that is much more weighty. It's refillable. It is designed for you to keep and continue to use over and over and over again. The cap has a little mirror, which literally is just big enough to see your lips, okay? Now let's talk about scent. Actually, somebody pointed out to me and asked me if my lipstick, my Westman Atelier lipsticks, had a scent. And I have been testing this out for a week and I never noticed a scent. But when I hold it directly up to my nose, it has a very faint, sweet, vanilla-y kind of scent to it. But I could never smell it like from this distance putting on my lipstick. It doesn't like taste like anything. You know how there are lipsticks and lip products that when they are scented in any kind of way, you can like taste it. It lingers on the lips. Not the case with this. Honestly, if it wasn't that somebody pointed it out, I would have literally never known that this had a scent because it really is that faint. Both of these brands are clean beauty brands, for those of you who are wondering, and the Merit lipsticks actually don't have a scent at all. I'm just double checking. But no, they do not have a scent at all. So you might want to take out like maybe a little notepad and start writing, you know, the pros and cons of each, because I feel like we all have different needs, and that's what this review comes down to, is what is your preference. So Westman Atelier, refillable, can use this case over and over again, has a little mirror on the cap, and lipstick smells. Merit is a little bit more affordable. Also, it is not refillable, doesn't have a scent, okay? By the way, packaging on this is the same. It's still a little bit weighty. Obviously, it's not going to be as weighty as the Westman Atelier because the Westman Atelier is actually much bigger. So you can see that although the Merit is a little taller, just in circumference, like one is a square and one is a circle. Wow. I don't know my shapes today. That's nice. And I've already had 2 cups of coffee, so. But that's just the cap, because when you remove the cap from the Westman the Merit lipsticks, you're just left with your typical standard lipstick bullet. Okay? So this is something we are very familiar with. The Westman Atelier lipstick does have girth to it. And as I mentioned in my previous video where I had reviewed this lipstick, I had mentioned that some people were concerned that this was bulky packaging. It is bulky packaging. And like I said before, it is not something that feels uncomfortable at all in the hand. It just feels different. We are not used to having a lipstick be this wide in the hand, but it's not uncomfortable. It just feels different, that's all. Now, if you are like trying to save space in your makeup bag, this is probably not the lipstick you want to travel with, you know? The Merit ones I find are just a little bit more travel friendly, especially because of their shape. I find that when packing things in a makeup bag or whatnot, I find that squares tend to, for me, tend to be a little easier to pack just because of the shape. I can kind of like work things around it and not waste any space. When you have a sphere, you're always gonna have a little bit of blank space around the product sometimes. So again, that's just a little extra detail that I find out. We're splitting hairs here. As far as formula is concerned, both are matte lipsticks and you need to determine what is gonna be best for you, okay? Now, the Westman Atelier lipstick applies like a cream. That's what it feels like. It feels like butter when you first apply it. After a couple of seconds, it does dry down. It like sets and you do get that matte finish. And it feels like you have nothing on the lips. They are both very thin formulas. But I find that with the Westman Atelier lipstick, it doesn't feel like you have anything on, but you do get that dry down, which just feels like you don't have anything on, but you kind of know you have a matte lipstick. Not uncomfortable at all, so don't misinterpret what I'm saying, because the Merit one applies the opposite. It actually applies more like a matte, but it feels and it remains feeling more like a satin on the lips, even though it looks like a matte. And the reason I'm pointing at my mouth is because I'm currently wearing the color Classic on my lips, and you can see it looks exactly like a matte, but as I've been wearing it, it continuously wears like a satin. I can continue to kind of move my lips around and the texture of it feels very satiny, even though it looks like a matte lipstick, if I'm making any sense. With the Westman, when you get that dry down, it's not that you can't like move the lipstick around, it just loses that buttery effect that you first get when you apply the lipstick, okay? Now, the other major difference that I've found in these two formulas is that with the Westman Atelier lipstick is much, like it's very heavily pigmented. So getting a wash of color is kind of a bit more difficult. With the Merit, you can do both. If you just want a wash of color, you have that option. And then if you want to build it up, you can do so as well. These, it's not that they're not pigmented, they just, you don't get that right off of the first sweep, okay? So it really just depends what you're looking for, okay? Do you want a lipstick that is much more pigmented? You just want that one swipe and get the color that you want? Or do you want a lipstick that has a little bit of more versatility, and if you want a wash of color, you can kind of just swipe it on, get that wash? Or if you want to build it up, you can. It really just depends on you. I personally love both products. I really can't sit here and tell you that I prefer one over the other. I love them both equally, even though they have their differences. I know that I'm gonna be reaching for my Merit lipsticks when I want something a little bit lighter. I want more like a little wash, a little stain. I know I'll reach for this more. And if I want something quick that's just gonna give me the color payoff immediately that I want, I'm gonna go for my Westman Atelier lipstick. Here is gonna be the other big difference between these two lipsticks. The undertones. Okay, understand that Gucci Westman, this is her first lipstick in the line, okay? So you have a very, the first launch is going to be very limited colors, right? Same, not with Merit is a little different. Merit has always had their lipsticks, but this is their first matte version. So again, they have a small range of colors. We all know how this works. They will probably in the future eventually just expand the color line and fill in those gaps. So what you need to determine is what kind of undertone do you want? I find that with the Westman, again, I'm going, take my opinion with a grain of salt, because I haven't seen these lipsticks in store. I have not swatched them. I will, and I will try to do a shorts for you guys if I can catch these in store, okay? So I only have one of these Westman Atelier lipsticks. I have 4 of the Merit ones. So again, take my opinion with a grain of salt, okay? I find that off of the promo photos with the Westman, lipstick range runs a little bit more cool toned, versus the Merit line, I feel runs a little bit more warm, a little bit more peachy, except for, and they have a lot more reds. However, you could find some cooler tones, and one of those will be Power. Power is a very cool toned red, but I think that if you're leaning more into a cooler kind of lipstick color, you may want to explore the Westman Atelier ones. If you're looking for something with a little bit more warmth, a little bit, because see, this is classic, which is considered their neutral. This is the lightest color in the range, but if you can tell, it's a little bit warm. Other thing is that I know that a lot of you don't even have access to the Westman Atelier lipsticks, and so I'm gonna say this like I said this in the other video, I would not blind buy this lipstick. It is a very expensive, it is very good, but it's kind of one of those things where if you're gonna drop that amount of money, you better know that the color that you're buying is the perfect one for you. That's all I'm saying, okay? Especially those of you who live in countries where you are not able to return any beauty product if you try it and you don't like it. I live in the States. We're very fortunate here in the sense that if we order something online because it's not available in store, and even if you buy something in store and you go home and you try it and you don't like it, you can return it. Of course, there's guidelines and a time frame for that, but essentially we are allowed to make returns here. So I know that that's not available to everybody else in the world. So that's why I just wouldn't blind buy, you know, something so pricey. Now with the Merit lipsticks, I know this is also not available to everybody, but I feel like the price point for this is a little bit more friendly. And so hypothetically speaking, if you purchase this and you try it on and maybe it's not the exact undertone that you want, you won't cry about it in your dreams. You know what I mean? So that's where I'm at with both of these finishes. I think they are both magnificent. I think that both companies did an immaculate job at producing these lipsticks. But if you can go in store, these are available at Sephora, both of these, okay? If you can go to a local store and try these out, I would highly recommend that you do so. Try them on, swatch them, and see which one is the best color for you. Let's go ahead and swatch these really quick, okay? Because I have gotten a couple of questions about comparisons. So, PK, I'm gonna swatch this for you right here. It has a kind of neutral browny pinkish undertone, as you can see. And I wanna honestly, like, compare that to the lipstick I have on right now. I'm gonna swatch it on the other side, but just so you guys know, they're very different. They are not similar at all. But for the purpose of this video, I am gonna swatch this. So here we have Classic. You see how different they look? So now, another major question I got is comparing PK to Baby from Merit. This is, by the way, my favorite lipstick color from Merit is Baby. Baby is different. It has a pinky lavender undertone, okay? Sorry, I had like a little piece of something on the bullet and I wanna get a good swatch here for you guys. This has more of a pinky, coolish, pinky lavender cool undertone. So there we have Baby. See, it is not the same as PK. They are quite different, as you can see. Baby has a pinkish lavender undertone. PK has more of a brown neutral undertone, okay? Now, the other lipstick that I had here that I wanted to compare to PK is Slip by Merit, because I don't have the brown color in the matte range. But even then, I feel like the brown color in the Merit range would actually be a little bit too dark. I feel like it would be more comparable to the color Rue in the Westman Atelier lineup. So here we have Slip, and I'm gonna put it right under it so you guys can see. Slip is definitely much more of a caramel brown. It doesn't have any pink in it. So there we have Slip. And then the other color I wanted to compare it to was Millennial from Merit, and also not the same. This is much more pink in tone, just like a true pink. And I'm going to swatch this right on the top here so you guys can see. But this is Millennial. And I'm gonna swatch it on this side just so you guys can see, but I wanted to get as close as I could to that swatch. So this is Millennial. Millennial is just your very true pink, and I feel like Gerive may be a little bit more comparable to this color from what I could tell on the promo pictures. But again, see, they are not the same color or undertone. PK is right there. And last but not least, I want to compare it to the color Antibes in the Merit Matte lipstick range. And I'm going to swatch it next to Millennial. This is a true peach tone. This is your soft peach terracotta kind of color. PK is up here. They're not even in the same playing field. So as you can see, they are very different in tone. You have much more of that peach undertone with Antibes. PK again remains a pinky brown neutral undertone. Now, we could compare it to Mason, but Mason I find is just way too deep. It's considered the mauve color, but you see it's very deep and much more raspberry in tone than Decay. You see that color difference? Here's Decay right here. Like, again, they're not even close to being the same. So I hope this video helped you guys kind of determine what lipstick would be best for you if you don't want to pick up both. Please remember that if you are going to purchase the Merit lipsticks, I do have a affiliate link code that I will link in the description box below, and it would help support this channel. Any little bit helps, and I'm truly appreciative of anybody who uses that link. If you want to purchase through Instagram, I also have an Instagram link in my bio on my Instagram page if you feel more comfortable purchasing things through Instagram. So leave me your comments and questions down below. I will do my best to answer those questions. And the last thing I want to mention, because I don't think I did, none of these formulas sink into fine lines. I mean, I have a lot of wrinkles on my lips because my lips are natural. I don't get fillers or anything like that. So I have a lot of wrinkles on my lips, and none of these formulas sink into those fine lines. These formulas do not become patchy. They wear very well throughout the day. And what starts to happen is that it leaves behind like a wash of color, like a stain almost on the lip. So even when they start to wear off, they wear off very nicely. And I have literally no complaints about either formula. So to be quite frank, it really doesn't matter which one you choose. I think you're gonna be really pleasantly surprised with both formulas. I think they did such a good job with the formulation. All right, you guys, that completes this video. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate your time. Don't forget to subscribe, and see you later.